Tonight on the ballot, how is the public responding to campaigns? We hear from the cheerleaders. "9 days to go. How well are party supporters embracing the message of peace?" And a quick sample of how Nigerians responded to INEC's temporary suspension of the PVC collection. A very good evening to you. Welcome to the Ballot, NTA's comprehensive pre-election program. My name is Fisayo Ogunfuyi. Glad you could join us. It is said that every nation gets the leaders they deserve, and if these leaders emerge from the collective will of the people, it therefore stands to reason that they are a reflection of the diverse aspirations of the masses. It behoves on the people to rationalize the quality of leadership they subsequently get, hoping it brings to bear all of their dreams and hope for a better life. It is that season where the people are indeed the center of the universe, as the campaigns rise to a crescendo. There are those whose minds were made up a long time ago, whether it's based on partisanship or sheer belief in a candidate. These bloc are those we know as the cheerleaders. In any major competition, the cheerleaders embrace the spirit and message of their own side, sometimes zealously propagating their support to an extent that it causes avoidable tension in the face of conflicting ideologies and eagerness to come tops. These supporters often ignore the imperatives for peace and cohesion and collective responsibility. We will be speaking with the leadership of a support group whose presidential candidate already endorsed and signed the peace accord for the 2019 elections. I will be introducing my guests very shortly, but let's quickly ponder on some of the developments in the past few days. We're talking about, of course, PVC collection nationwide, and of course the temporary the temporary suspension on PVC collection until after elections. How well have people taken that? Let me quickly welcome Prince Ebola Martins. He is the national coordinator of the Buhari Mandate Group. We consider you a cheerleader because it seems to me that you're already swayed to a particular direction. So quickly tell us, what is the mood in camp?
Well, everybody, we are all happy, and we are all just waiting for the day to come, because we are really doing all that we need to do. The masses are behind us. We are not just sitting and buying data to start blackmailing on social media. So we are doing the needful, and our people are actually eager.
Now, what approaches have you deployed? Is it door-to-door? Have you been able to reach your teaming supporters?
Let me tell you, this is very interesting. Do you know why the opposition are busy, blackmailing and telling all kinds of lies? We didn't join them in that. We just decided to start this door-to-door campaign. And that's why you see that in what we have done so far, we've been able to, educate our people in each of the polling units and each of the wards, for them to see the program of the government. What President Muhammadu Buhari has done in the past 3.5 years or thereabout, what he has been able to put together. These are all the things we have educated them on. And by the way, the President Buhari's campaign is so easy. I will tell you why. Because it took only President Muhammadu Buhari to be able to put our role on track. It took him after about 16 years of PDP. So a leader like that, can you imagine that for the first time in the history of Nigeria, we are producing our own rice? Can you imagine how many billions of dollars we've been able to save from that, and how many employment we have created in this rural area? Maybe not for the rich. That's why the rich are crying, because the way they are looting will block everything anyway. So the poor people are now beginning to get lease of life. If you can farm, the government is giving a lot of support to the farmers, because they want us to start producing what we eat. Before now, even toothpick, we import them. So President Muhammadu Buhari saw this, and he realizes that we need to start feeding ourselves, we need to start creating jobs, and this is what he has done.
So, in short, that is the main selling point.
Yes, it is. It is.
what are the feelers, for instance, across the region? Do you collate? Do you, in some way, get some feedback and then use that perhaps to reach, you know, the hierarchy of the party in terms of the aspirations of the people? Of course, because we're diverse people, so our needs are different.
Well, let me tell you the most interesting aspect of what you have just asked me is that, you see, the people themselves, they are following the president because they believe in this program, in the program of the government. I will give you one just little example. You know what happened in Kwara State? The PDP, they are used to bring in and all that.
I want you to sell your product.
Yeah, okay, I will say. What I'm just trying to tell you is that if you see what we have done, if you live in Lagos now and you want to walk in Ibadan, the rail line, if you check now, it took only President Muhammadu Buhari to be able to fix that. Now, look at some of the road, even in the east. Is it about Port Harcourt Road? Just check. It took President Muhammadu Buhari, okay, by the way, just even check yourself, Lagos-Ibadan Expressway, for 16 years, PDP couldn't do it. But right now, you can see exactly what we're doing. Instead of sharing money, we are deploying the resources into developing the country. And this is very important to us. And this is why we are saying that the time has come for us to take our destiny into our hands, especially the Nigerian youth. Nigeria cannot remain the way we used to be. We have to move ahead. We have to develop our educational sector, you know, transport system, health system. We have to develop this. And President Muhammadu Buhari cannot do all this in 4 years. Obama can't even try that.
Let me come in here and ask you in terms of, you know, Nigeria's maturity politically. Some feelers have said the rhetorics coming out this past few days or weeks has been a bit feisty, fierce, you know, verbal jousting. It leaves the voter a bit nervous. What would you say perhaps to your supporters and players generally as we approach election day?
Yeah, if you notice what has been happening so far, you know that some people, they are scared of their own shadows. Because when they were in government, they know how they rigged the election. So because of this, they assume everybody will do it. That's why I was trying to tell you, if you notice the Offa robbery case, those boys, when they were arrested, confessed that they were actually working for the Senate president and to rig election.
We have said, in terms of the ground rules, that we will focus on our candidates today so that we will talk more on programs.
Okay. So what I'm just trying to say is, in terms of programs, I mean, you can see what President Muhammadu Buhari has done speak for itself. You can see for the first time in the history of this country, you want to travel out now, see now, your green passport now has value. Unlike the way we have been treated all over the world. Like we have discussed severally, do you know it took only President Muhammadu Buhari to be invited to the ICT? It took him alone because they know he's one of the most honest men, dead or alive, in this country. We are not saying we don't have honest people, but for President Muhammadu Buhari, you can't corrupt him. And that's why we as youth, we should be able to follow such a leader to lead us through.
Is this leadership cascading to the states? Or are we hinging it, and is the party hinging it completely on the reputation of the president? Is it also trickling down? Are you seeing that also in the states, of course, with the leadership, with the part where the party, of course, dominates?
I'll give you an example. My boss in the Presidential Campaign Council, Dr. Mahmood, is as honest as his boss. Even his deputy, Ibrahim. So this does to tell you that it goes to even the states, the local government, and the wards. So one of the things we are being taught, and that's why we are doing it not for money. None of us, you go to the campaign organization and they will tell you that we are doing it out of commitment. Every one of us are doing it out of commitment because we believe in the president. And the president also forbid us from doing what is wrong. So this is to tell you that what we are learning from the president, we are also trying to bring into use. And that's what every one of us is doing.
If I'm to ask, finally, before I just leave you, would you say we have matured as a nation, politically? Because this is another cycle that will begin in the next few months.
Well, the process has begun. The opposition should just stop blackmailing. They should stop crying foul, because they stop crying foul. They should just play their own part and let us play our own part. And we have done ours. We are doing our campaign. We know loopholes have been blocked, so no free money. So that's why they are crying anyway.
Prince Ebu Martins, thank you for coming on the ballot. We wish you the very best.
Thank you.
All right, tomorrow is the deadline set by INEC for the collection of PVCs nationwide. We talked to Nigerians to know if they met this deadline.
I have my voter's card and I will be participating in this forthcoming election, and I'm ready to participate.
Of course, I'm going to vote. It's because it's our civic right or responsibility to vote for our future. Because, come on man, the future of Nigeria is in our own hands already.
I have been here 3 times to collect my voter's card. This is my 3rd time leaving my executive time to come and wait here. I've been here for the past 2 hours and I've just been informed that up until now, my voter's card is not yet printed.
I've just collected my permanent voter's card after 3 occasions of trying. And for me, I consider participation in the elections, the forthcoming elections, as a very serious civic responsibility.
I have the temporary one, but I don't have the original one. And I've been coming here for the past 3 days, and I didn't get it. Even now I'm going, and I want to participate on the vote.
I have voter's card, and actually the voter's card that I had is a transfer from Jos to Abuja here.
My name is Usman James Obezi. I'm from Nasarawa State. I work at the printing press. I'm going to participate in the election.
I just collected my voter's card now, meaning that I'm going to participate in an election, this coming election.
I see, just collected mine. Yeah, I'll be voting next week. And that was why I came all the way from my place to come here and collect. You can see there's much queue here. But then I succeeded in collecting. So I urge every Nigerian to go and collect. If you know you collect, you participate. I believe this time our vote will count.
My next guest on the ballot tonight is the Vice Presidential Candidate, Sustainable National Party, Mr. Kingsley Nwagu. Welcome to the ballot.
Thank you.
I see you are young like me.
Sure.
So, first of all, how is the terrain? Perhaps I want to be somebody like you when I grow up.
Well, it's all good. We thank God for the opportunity to come out and participate. We believe, just like the bill says, that it's not too young to run. And we are being motivated by that discourse. And then we believe that it's time for the youths to start opening up their minds, for the youths to start participating in politics, in political leadership, because that is the only way that they will have opportunity to come up and take up leadership in the country.
Have you expended a lot of money in this process?
No, not at all.
And how is the acceptance like when there's no, motivation?
Well, you know how Nigerian political system is structured. Of course, people have this mindset that if you are coming out to contest, that you must be a money bag. You must have money. And this is what we want to discourage. We want to dissuade people from having that, approach to selecting a leader.
Okay. How does your manifesto key into the collective aspiration of Nigerians?
Yeah, SMP, as the name suggests, Sustainable National Party, is an ideology itself. The name alone is an ideology. We want to manage, we view Nigeria as, with a panoramic view, as an entity, an organization, which, of course, need to be managed as a company. An organization that need to grow, an organization that need to maximize and utilize every resources at its disposal. That is why we aim to rebuild the foundations of the civil society in order so as to ensure, defense of ideals of democracy and good governance. And it is time for the youth to realize that we, at this stage, we are very energetic. Okay, we can think and we can work round the clock to make sure that we deliver both structural good, both social good and financial good to generality of Nigerians.
Earlier in the week, we did a Vox Pop, an interview around the streets, and to ask Nigerians about their familiarity with party symbols and logos. Have you had this challenge introducing your party to Nigerians? Yeah, of course. Of course, the reason is not far-fetched. You know, we have about 91 political parties now, and there are very few of them that are popular. And the difference between the popular parties and the non-popular parties is just access to public fund. Okay? Now, as a new party and as young men championing this party with good ideologies, with good objectives to turn around the situation of the ordinary Nigerian, it is very difficult to achieve this without, of course, the media, like personalities like you. Of course, you know how expensive you are. This is completely free. This platform is completely free. Yeah, of course it is there, and we quite appreciate that. We thank you for that. All right, so let's look at, your interaction with the youths. I've seen some rallies, not by your party alone, but I've seen youths, coming out in large number. What has your engagement with them been like? What are their needs? What are their wants that you think you can quickly tackle as a low-hanging fruit? Yes, I think an average Nigerian youth wants opportunity, equal opportunity. An average Nigerian youth needs to be given a sense of what? He needs a platform to showcase what he has, and that is what SMP is coming to do. We want to design a system where we can utilize the entrepreneurial prowess of our youth to achieve a diversified and solid national economy. I spoke with some, politicians from what I would call maybe not the more popular parties, and they say there's a huge chunk of undecided voters. Are you targeting this group of people? And if you are, what will be your message to them? Yeah, of course, our message is simple. The campaign strategy we adopted for this year's election is to restructure Nigeria in a way that will create equal opportunity and then share the wealth. Share the money? No, to allow equal access to wealth of Nigeria by creating opportunities and by developing sectors that have not been tapped. There are many sectors in the economy that have not been tapped. By building capacity, by giving opportunities to our youths and to every Nigerian, by also empowering the vulnerable ones, like the women, the youth, who over the years have been sidelined. We need to bring everybody. Every individual has talent. And let me tell you that there is no such thing as poverty. There are no poor people. There are only people with poor mindsets. So we need to rekindle. When you give people sense of what, when you give people opportunity, when there is equity distribution of wealth and whatever resources that God endowed us with, of course, people will have sense of what, and then their minds will begin to open. They'll begin to gain acceptance wherever they find themselves, and then they will begin to do something by being productive. And in such way, the wealth of Nigeria will grow, the economy will fare well, and everybody will be happy. And let me tell you, prosperity is all about happiness, good health, and then money. Money comes last. Okay, but let me now ask this question. A lot of young minds have not seen politics perhaps as, they see it as a minefield. They don't want to dabble into politics. In your experience now, would you think it's a calling that we should begin to embrace? Yes, it is very interesting actually. In fact, my experience this few months, has shown me that we have been sleeping. We have been sleeping for long. I want to call on every well-meaning youth of Nigeria. If you want this country to be good, don't just relax and resort to Facebook or social media, criticism and all that. You need to come out. You need to take the bull by the horn. You need to come out and show our leaders, our old leaders, our papas that, look, this is time for transition. In other countries, plan their population, they plan succession
both in political leadership, in economic leadership. They plan it in such a way that as they are going, the next generation are taking over. But here you see, the crop of leaders we've had over the years, impoverishing people, subjecting the youth and using them, to perpetrate negatives that does not augur well for the country.
Okay, do you feel intimidated when you drive past and you drive past like 15, 20 posters and you are still yet to see one from your party?
I am not intimidated at all. I think I feel challenged. It propels me to act more, to look for a possible way to convince other youths to come out and join us. I believe that when the voice is loud, of course, it can be heard.
Mr. Kingsley Wagu, I wish you the very best.
Thank you very much, sir. Yeah.
That has been the ballot for tonight. It is officially 9 days until the presidential polls. Whatever you do, remember this. To make a difference, you need to go out there with your PVC and vote. And collectively, we can all determine which direction we want the country to go. My name is Fisayo Ogunfuyi. I'll be back seeing you same time tomorrow. Good night.
Nigerians. Suicide bombers are not spirits. They are not ghosts. They are human beings like you and me. They live amongst us. They are your neighbors. They are your friends today, but terrorists tomorrow. So you must know your neighbor now. Security begins with you and me. Know your neighbor. Be vigilant. Be security conscious. Report suspicious persons, objects and movements to the police and other security agencies. The security of our nation is a duty for you and me.
If you see something, say something. Nigeria, unite against terrorism. This message is brought to you by the Federal Ministry of Information and Culture.
Imagine a station where you access information. Think of a station that creates awareness for national development. Imagine a station that prepares you for a bright and greater future. A station for all ages. Documentaries, classroom and television, events coverage, children's programs and variety shows. Always stay tuned to NTA Knowledge on the StarTimes platform. Channel 359. For partnership, sponsorship and advert placements, contact us on NTA Knowledge. NTA Knowledge, learning to broaden horizon.
NTA, you can't beat the rich.
Information is power. Everyone wants power. So feel powerful with the NTA News mobile app, the one-stop information center. Real news at your fingertip. Be the first to report by uploading first-hand information on the U-Report link. And be the first to know by simply clicking on any of the links on the sidebar for headlines, domestic and foreign news, economy, security, politics, sports, and more. Stream live on your smartphone and tablets and stay connected. It's pretty easy. Simply download NTA News app from your Google Play Store and you're good to go. NTA News mobile app. your access to real-time information. You are watching NTA, Nigerian Television Authority. For more information and news updates, visit our website at www.nta.ng, or you can follow us on Twitter at NTA News Now, or you can like us on Facebook at NTA Network News. Stay connected on our YouTube channel at www.youtube.com/NTA News Online. Watch our live stream at www.nta.ng/live. NTA, you can't beat the rich.
File, where we seek the views of experts, government functionaries, movers of the economy, and the ordinary Nigerian on developmental challenges confronting the nation in an era of diversification. The process that is meant to reinvigorate all aspects of our national life in education, science, technology, and innovation, agriculture, health, and other aspects of societal development. The Weekend File crew has the onerous task of articulating all the issues, ensuring that all perspectives are brought to the table. On the show, all things matter and opinions of every class count. Weekend File shows every Saturday at 9 p.m. on the NTA network service. It is your weekend companion and a destination for news, views, and analysis. It is unmissable.
Service of the NTA.
Good evening. In 1993, in 1993, apartheid ended, and the first country that South Africa consulted for the latest dynamics in sports development was Nigeria. That was in 1993. 26 years after, Nigeria needs to take lessons from South Africa on sports administration. So what transpired in those 26 years? Tonight, we have a very, very special guest in the house who is going to take us on an excursion of his own experiences between those two countries. I am Segun Odegbami, Speaker of the Sports Parliament, coming to you live from the largest television network in Africa, NTA, the studio in Lagos. Sitting in Parliament with me today, a very lean Parliament but very rich one, is Onome Obruti.
Thank you, Mr. Speaker. Good to be here. Africa, I salute you. Have a great show with us.
Lukman is going to be joining us tonight, and he's turning into a parliamentarian for one night. Welcome, Lukman.
Thank you, Mr. Speaker. It's always an honor to be a parliamentarian.
And of course, our own very, very special guest, my friend, my brother. He introduced me to Super Sports for all the years that I worked with them. Emeka Enyadike. Van Dyke, we call him.
Big Sheikh, it's good to be on the Parliament. I enjoy the show regularly. I tune in. It's quite, it's late here. It's even later because when you guys start here, it's almost midnight, and so it's a great pleasure to be not only on the parliament, but also in the studio that started my career. So
you will tell us more about that.
So many years ago, so it's exciting.
So, well, the program is being streamed live on Facebook, Sport Parliament, Facebook Sport Parliament. Join us after the break.
This used to be me. But that was before I got the perfect bag. It's handy and easy to use. All I need in one compact space, just like my MTN Extra Value plan. I used to get one plan for my calls and then try to remember which data plan worked for me. Roaming was a totally different ballgame. Not anymore. I've got the MTN Extra Value all-in-one plan. If you're a data buff like me, you get extra data with some talk time. And if you like to make calls, you get extra talk time with some data. And when I'm abroad, I automatically browse, chat, and call right on the same plan. MTN Extra Value was made just for me.
More of data or calls, whichever one you prefer. MTN Extra Value is made just for you.
If you are just joining us, this is the Sports Parliament coming to you from our studio here in Lagos, NTA. And we have a very, very special guest in the house, as I introduced him earlier. We started together a long time ago. I started shortly before he joined. And since then, we've had a terrific experience and terrific relationship. However, I've always wanted to ask so many questions since he left Nigeria and went and settled in South Africa and became a part of the history of the development of sports in South Africa since after apartheid. So our program today will be focused on all of those developments, all of those stories. Let's start with the one that is very, very close to my heart. The impact of hosting the World Cup 2010 in South Africa. What is the impact? Then, during the games, now, all of it.
The one thing that excites me about this question you've asked is I still remember your World Cup bid that you led, and all of the things that you talked about. The opportunity for development, for creating a great connection. The first thing that you noticed about the World Cup was, overnight, when you land in South Africa, the O.R. Tambo airport, you were there when Nigeria played in '93. By 2010, it was a totally different airport. There was a lot of infrastructure development that went with it. The South Africa has a train network which normally runs. They've got the intercity, they've got the metro rail, but they have today a speed train network, which wasn't totally ready for the World Cup. Just one part of it, the one that takes you from the airport to Sandton, was ready for the World Cup, but it didn't stop them because it was part of, they built it into the development infrastructure plan of the region, of the province, the Gauteng province, which now connected Johannesburg and Pretoria. And, with that, anybody coming in, there's that whole convenience. If you wanted to go to the airport, like I want to go to the airport and there's traffic, 15 minutes it goes. I remember Onome was there and I was telling him, you got to take the train. And you find that even the HOW train is better. I mean, normally I've traveled around Europe all the time, and I love trains, but I can tell you that for all the countries that I've been to, the HOW train is top class. It's better than a lot of what you find all around Europe, and there's a plan now to extend it, and this is the result of hosting the World Cup. Then you look at the sports infrastructure. If you go to Durban, there's the King Stadium, where the Sharks, which is a phenomenal rugby team, plays. Right next to it, they built the Moses Mabhida Stadium with the Ark. Just the visitors to the stadium, because it's very close to the sea, to the Indian Ocean. So the visitors, you know, they go on the ark. You know, you pay as a tourist and you go in there. Then the amount of events that they're able to attract. I mean, recently they tried to bid for the Commonwealth, which they got, but you know, certain things weren't right about the financials. So eventually they let it go. You go to Cape Town, you know, they built a stadium. They had bidded for the Olympics in 2004, which they lost to Athens. That one is there. So with the facilities that they have, the provinces are able to bid for sports events. The country as a whole, I mean, South Africa was going to host the AFCON for the third time, if not for the fact that Egypt put in a bit of political pressure to get it backed by Morocco and the rest of them. And then you have a situation where South Africa is also bidded against France to host the Rugby World Cup once again. Because once you have the infrastructure, you know, because you look at, I mean, I was involved at the point with the process for the French, the Olympic bid for Paris.
For Paris, okay.
You know, with some of the communication, so I traveled over there and I was taking around why their bid was better than Los Angeles. And you look at the two bids, because they've hosted the World Cup, they had the situation where they're going to use that same stadium. They have a plan which was put into the process long ago, that they're going to take away the lower tiers and they will reveal the athletic tracks, which it's easy to lay the tracks, but provision was made for it. And so, you know, they can host the Olympics there. All of the infrastructure projects that they're doing as part of the new IOC 2020 reforms around the bidding, because now it's becoming difficult to find host countries. And if you didn't have infrastructure before, you can't go and bid for these games anymore, because it's going to cost you a lot. And that's why you have white elephants in Brazil, you have in Athens, because they had to build all of these things from the scratch. But with South Africa can host anything. In fact, they're actually on track now to host the Women's World Cup. And all they need to do, because they put them into use, and not all of them, there are a few of them, like in Nelspruit, there's no professional team there anymore, but occasionally Kaizer Chiefs and some other teams go and play there. If you go to Port Elizabeth, they don't have that. But I mean, now Cape Town, for instance, is not a football city, but they do have a team there. Cape Town City. I'm saying they have Ajax. Okay. Ajax plays in Newlands. Yeah. Cape Town City, one of the former founders of Ajax, went and bought black ACs and brought them to Cape Town, and the city, you know, incentivizes them to bring to play those games there. And then what has happened is that every year in December, one of the biggest sporting events that brings in tourists is the Rugby Sevens. Yes. You know, and the Rugby Sevens for Cape Town, it's phenomenal. And what people don't realize is the impact. One thing I see with Nigeria sometimes when we host events, all I see at the end of the day is expenditure. And sometimes we don't think about, we don't do this whole analysis of to say, how do we get to a point where we justify the reason for us to host the games, which is how much impact it has on the economy of the city, how many hotels people are going to occupy, and look at
the medical. And look at what of the medical facility.
Exactly, medical facility.
How is it in South Africa?
I'm a good example. You know, 10 years ago, you know, I had the possibly the worst medical experience. You know, when I had kidney failure, and if I wasn't in South Africa, the kind of response and the kind of treatment that I got, they've got top class medical education. They've got top class. I mean, my specialist that I saw, you know, to book an appointment to see her just for checkup twice a year. There's people flying in from all over the world, and that's medical tourism. Because they come in, they stay in the hotels, they do, and then they've got, you know, specializations for cancer treatment, for every possible kind of ailment, and then they've got a good health insurance system as well, which enables you to cover some of that. So, you know, from a sporting point of view, when you look at the fact that you mentioned earlier about, you know, them coming to ask us, the one thing I give them a lot of kudos for is when they don't know, it doesn't matter who, you know, and in that particular instance, we were way ahead of them, because I remember There's a guy who used to be technical director for sports, who's a German guy. He was actually in Nigeria before he went
to South Africa.
When he went to South Africa, part of this German exchange program. I can't remember his name now, but we used to have a lot of interactions, and he would tell me, with Nigeria, we've done a lot of those things there. And here's the funniest part. South Africa did not have TV until 1976.
No.
Yes, they didn't have TV until 1976 because the system then didn't want a lot of those exposures. Yeah, but we had TV. 1959. How? Because I still remember in 1979.
It was opened in 1958.
58. But I'm saying it was not. I remember in 1979 we had this massive celebration of
40 years.
No, there was 20 years. 20 years of it. And then there was a game between, I think it was Sharks and Rangers, or was it Shooting Stars? I can't remember. But I usually try and remember a few of these things. But I still remember that celebration in 1979.
It was built in 58 in 4 months.
Yes.
It took 4 months to open the first television station in Africa.
And one of the reasons why, someone like me, for instance, thrives in that environment is that a lot of the people who work in football did not watch you play in 1978 at the AFCON, which I did. So when we talk about it, it's not about what you read. Last weekend we had this whole show about Mulamba Ndiaye, from Zaire, former Zaire DRC. Yes. He died, and people were talking about it, and people were talking. And I looked around everyone, and I'm like, you guys did not watch it.
You became the encyclopedia.
You did not watch it, so you don't even know him. So it's not enough because there are no footages. There are not enough materials to him. So it's only if you were watching, because some of the stuff that I know about Shooting Stars winning the Cup Winners' Cup was because I watched it. I watched the games. I was a kid, yes, but I watched each of the games. They didn't have TV, and not only did they not have TV, they were banned. So they were not allowed to see some of those things. But can you compare that today? It is.
No, let's settle for South Africa for now. We still come to today of Nigeria. But look, man.
Well, for me, Mr. Speaker, I've known Emeka over the years. I've known him for donkey years, and especially when he had his health challenges, we were grateful to God he was in South Africa, because what they would have been telling you here to drink agbo, like my Galacticos people will say, "No, drink Rashida, it will be all right." It was a farce, because then the greatest miracle was the fact that he was in that nation, and it took 10 months, but he's here, hale and hearty, and you would not even know he went through such an ordeal. Now, I used to be a little bit biased because of me being patriotic and, thinking, Nigeria, we are the giants of Africa. I think we should change some slogans. I'm on national TV saying this. We should drop that giant first. We need to learn. We had TV almost 30-something years before South Africa.
No, it was actually 15, 16 years.
16 years before South Africa.
And
they went through apartheid for years.
Yeah, it's a lot.
Look at what they've gone through. Look at where they are today. Look at where we are. Look at what they have. I will tell you this experience, sir. I was in South Africa with Emeka, I think in 2016, for corporate soccer, and I met a girl on the train we were talking about, because we had to take a train going to where we were going to. And she was like, "Oh, where are you from?" I was like, "Oh, Nigeria." She was like, "Oh, okay." I'm like, "Are you traveling? Are you going to the airport? Where are you going to?" She said, "Yes." I said, "Where are you going to?" She said, "America." I said, "Oh, so you guys go to America a lot?" She said, "No, that she's had this visa for the last 10 years. She's not gone, and that people really don't go to America." And I was wondering why. By the time I got back to the hotel, I was speaking to my friends. We got talking with some of our South African friends. We realized that about 90% of South Africans don't even travel. What are they going to do? A country that has enough electricity to power other countries, what are they going to do? So they really don't travel. Look at, most of them don't even have passports. They don't have passports. Where are they going to?
Like the football players. Some of them they go to Europe, and when they go there, the infrastructure
It's not up to.
Then they wonder, okay, what am
I doing here? Because what we have in South Africa is better.
I've got a lot better one, and not only that, sometimes they get paid better.
Yeah, because most of the South African players that go to Europe come back.
They come back, yes.
And most of us laugh. We don't know that they are coming back because where they are is far better than what they are getting in Europe.
I had one experience in Barcelona.
We have players in Vietnam. We have players in countries that don't even know how to kick football. Cambodia.
In Barcelona, there's a guy who works with Piqué now, because Piqué's got a company called Cosmos. And the company is in charge of Davis Cup. They're pulling in over $1 billion into tennis. And so Ivan used to work as an agent, but now he works with Piqué. I remember going out for lunch with him one day in Barcelona. We went to have tapas.
Okay.
And he said he wanted to take me to where there was, and we're just standing there. And then he said, look, he's got one player that came from South Africa, and the guy wants to go back.
Okay, is he eager?
Because you know how it is. Like if you're in Barcelona and you are around, you know where they've got where all the tourists go to. A lot of that area is got all this Gothic architecture, so it's old and whatever. So the guy was walking around there and he's thinking,
am I living backwards?
Why did I get
what am I
on the
doing
plane
here?
all the way?
No, wait, gentlemen. Nigeria used to be like that.
Yes, in your time.
Up till the 80s.
Yes, in your time, sir.
I was to go to Tottenham Hotspurs in 1981. I actually went to England, and I got there. I didn't even go for the trials.
Sir, you need to let our
viewers.
But that's true. No, you need to let our viewers know that you didn't need to go get a visa. You can get out from your house, go to the airport, board the flight, buy your ticket, and go to Spurs.
That's what I was going to say. That in my briefcase, I had tickets. At any time, you could just go to the airport and you will find yourself in the UK.
Yeah.
And I went there. Didn't even bother to go for the trial. Because at that time, one naira was $2.
Yes.
The equivalent of $2.
And they were going to be paying you.
It wasn't fashionable to even go at the time. And you were doing fairly well here.
A lot of our players went to America instead and went to
study.
Scholarships to study. Yeah.
So Big was meant to go to America as well as an engineer.
Yes, it's true. I could have ended up as an engineer.
You see, sir, let me just say this, in order not to deviate. I remember when my wife took in and she was about to give birth to my first daughter. She was hell-bent on giving birth to her in America. And I said something to her. I said, both of us, our parents had the opportunity to give birth to us abroad, but they chose to give birth to us here. Until today, we wonder why. Let our children be born here. When they are ready to born, let them go to America to born. We suffer together. We suffer here.
Look, man, you're not saying anything.
But I'll just go chip in towards Mr. Vega said, as per the World Cup and the investments that South Africa, some of the information I have says that over 93 billion rand was made or pumped into the South African economy thanks to the FIFA World Cup.
93 billion rand.
Yes, there was a survey conducted by KPMG during post the World Cup, and about 92% of the visitors promised or wished that they would come back a second time for extra visits to the country, which means that at every holiday time, people are coming back here to have a greater feeling of what South Africa looks like, minus the World Cup and that. Finally, another interesting part of it is that Brazil had to reach out to South Africa based on their
to get info, for their 2014, yes, you're very correct.
Wow. So it means that the administrators in South Africa are doing something fantastic.
Let me give you one that will surprise you. Normally when it's winter in Northern Europe, a lot of the teams go
on warm
weather training. They go to Dubai, they go wherever. And we have Nigeria is like even when it rains, it's like summer.
Exactly.
So this January, from the 3rd of January to the 12th, Werder Bremen came to South Africa for their winter break, and a lot of that occurred when we had a conference in Cape Town, Africa Cup, and the entire Bundesliga's new CEO came, and I remember them saying, they can't play a game because the teams were on break, they couldn't play a game and all that. I was saying to them, then why don't you go to Nigeria, because teams will always play you. And they asked me about about facilities and I said, look, but we've hosted the World Cup, we've done all of that. But
Which
I know
World Cup?
Age grade. Under 20, under 17 and under 20. Under 20 and under 17. And, you know, I was doing that patriotically, but okay, when they arrived in January, they camped in Johannesburg, and they did not want to stay in a hotel, they wanted to stay in a resort. And the biggest thing that they needed was not a massive 5-star hotel or all of that. Guess what it was? It's the pitch.
Just the pitch.
It's the pitch. No, the pitch.
Oh, the pitch.
The football pitch. The football pitch where they will play. And they trained in a football pitch that belongs to an amateur club called Randburg FC. It's just wow.
Randburg FC is like our Division 4.
Yes, no, not Division 4. This is like non-league.
That's what I'm saying. No. It's Division 4. Division 4, yes, non-league.
You know how we used to have Lagos Dafa? Yes, that's what Randburg FC, because I know, I mean, I belong to Bryanston Warriors, so we play, it's a community club, we play against Randburg FC.
So they are on the same cadre with you?
The same cadre, yes. So we've got, I've been there a few times.
It's like Wasimi United.
Exactly. Exactly. That is where they went to train. And, you know, if I show you the photograph,
they were overwhelmed.
Because they branded it to, it's not as if maybe Randburg FC stopped playing long before then. No, they were training there, and they made that facility available to them. So, you know, it's the attention to details. It's the little nuances, the little things that we take too seriously. We don't realize that, you know, from that level, I'm saying my son plays under 10. I go to the league games before I go to work on Saturday, and they play, parents are there, it's full house.
Well, if you are just joining us, this is the Sports Parliament. Nigeria, the entire country of Nigeria, does not have one pitch good enough to compare with one of the 35 pitches in the University of Manchester. They have 35 football pitches in the university, and the entire country of Nigeria does not have one football pitch good enough to match any one of those 35. Join us after the break.
Issues in the sports sector remain one of the most debated among Nigerians due to the passion, followership, government involvement, impact on Nigeria's external image and our national life in the sports parliament. The NTA offers Nigerians deep views on issues with experts in the sports sector, offering in-depth analysis, hindsight, insight and foresight towards elevating Nigerian sports to the zenith on the floor of the sports parliament. Sports Parliament, a unique platform for sports discussions, showing live on the NTA. Keep a date with the parliamentarians.
The eyes have it.
Welcome back. If you are just joining us, we've had a terrific time so far on the Sports Parliament with Van Dijk, Enyadike. But Lukman is sitting by. This week now, wow.
Mr. Speaker, you had my last week. Oh, yeah.
What happened last week?
Your Banga arrived last week. You said it now that Newcastle will be City, and it happened. I beg. Pay your tithe. Let's move on.
Well, I'm sure Mr. Speaker will set us accordingly.
Yeah, so you know the story.
All right. Two Argentine managers, Diego Simeone and Santiago Solari, square off against each other as Real Madrid make a short trip to the Wanda Metropolitano this weekend for the Madrid derby. On Sunday afternoon, Chelsea traveled to Etihad Stadium, hoping to maintain their fourth position in the league when they play league leaders now, Manchester City. Welcome to European football in 300 seconds. My name is Lukman Ogunwolu. Our focus matches are OG Nice, Olympique Lyon, Fiorentina Napoli, Borussia Dortmund Offenheim, Atletico Madrid, Real Madrid, and Manchester City, Chelsea. We begin in France. OGC, Nice, Lyon. Lyon will aim to strengthen their position on the log. They are third on the table at the moment, but of course will be buoyed by last week's victory over PSG at home. They will be facing Patrick Vieira's team, who are very strong defensively and give nothing away to the visitors. That said, Bruno Genesio's team will bring in with confidence as they travel to the Allianz Riviera, and they will be aiming to seek for a revenge following their home defeat earlier in August this season. Last season, Lyon won convincingly in Nice 5-0, and they will be hoping that they can get a similar result when they travel to Nice on Saturday afternoon. Lyon are in high spirits, and I think that may be able to tilt the game in their favor. I'm going for a narrow victory here, 2-1 Lyon. To Italy, Fiorentina, Napoli. Napoli have been handed a lifeline in the Scudetto race once again, thanks to Juventus losing a 2-goal advantage and playing a 3-3 draw against Parma last weekend. Carlo Ancelotti's team can reduce the gap to 6 points before Juventus plays Sassuolo on Sunday afternoon. That said, Fiorentina beat Napoli 3-0 last season in Tuscany, and they'll be hoping that they can do the same this season. But of course, they have to do it with a number of key players injured. But will they still have Diego Simeone's son available for this game, even though they failed to win at Udinese last weekend? This is a difficult game for me to predict because revenge is on the cards for Napoli, and Fiorentina have been scoring loads of goals at the moment. I'll be going for over 2.5 goals as my safe prediction this weekend. To Germany, Borussia Dortmund, Hoffenheim. Borussia Dortmund managed to extend their lead at the top of the Bundesliga to 7 points, even though they didn't win at Frankfurt last week. This was because Bayern contrived to lose at Frankfurt. At home, Dortmund have been almost fantastic, earning 28 points out of a possible 30 this season, and have been scoring goals for fun, a minimum of 2 per game. That said, Julian Nagelsmann's team, Hoffenheim, are struggling at the moment and couldn't even beat bottom side Fortuna Düsseldorf last weekend as they managed just a 1-1 draw in front of their fans. On their last 3 trips to Dortmund, they have lost, and I think that they will make it 4 defeats in a row. I'm going with Dortmund to win this, even though Marcus Reyes might not be available for this game. 3-1 Borussia Dortmund. To Spain, Atletico Madrid, Real Madrid. Expect fireworks at the Wanda Metropolitano Stadium this Saturday, with resurgent Real Madrid traveling to Atletico Madrid, who were stung by Real Betis last weekend. For Atletico Madrid, they have Koke and Saul back in their lineup, and Alvaro Morata will be hoping to score his first goal against his former team. Real Madrid have an almost full-strength team for this game, with Benzema and Vinicius Jr. leading the line for Los Blancos. In the last 4 league meetings between these two sides, it has been a draw. It's difficult to find a difference between both sides or separate them, so I think they will make it 5 draws in a row. 1-1 is my prediction for this game. And finally, to the big game in the Premier League between Manchester City and Chelsea. City will be looking to make it 3 victories in a row when Chelsea come calling at the Etihad Stadium on Sunday afternoon. Chelsea were able to turn the corner against bottom side Huddersfield Town, but Manchester City is a different kettle of fish entirely. Man City beat Everton midweek to rise back to the top of the table, and I think that Guardiola knows that they have the momentum in their sail now and wouldn't want to let loose of this opportunity. That said, Chelsea are the side that has beaten Guardiola's side the most 3 times since he has come to the Premier League, and they will be aiming for a second double in a space of 3 seasons against Manchester City. Regardless of this Chelsea's good record against Manchester City, I think City would find enough within them to get a narrow victory at home. I'm going for 2-1 to Manchester City here. This wraps up my focus for this week as I hand you over back to Mr. Speaker.
I hope you'll make some money again.
No, I'm waiting for Emeka. You have listened to that man.
Yes.
And that's unfortunate that you listened to him. So, what would you do this week? Where are you putting your money?
Chelsea upset against Man City.
Really?
Yes.
Wow. Thank God. I'm not putting anything anywhere this week.
That prayer point will die by fire. City all the way. A City United.
Well, if you are just joining us, you haven't missed too much. But just sit and enjoy our conversation today. We are talking about South Africa and Nigeria and making some kind of, it's not a comparison really, we are making an excursion into both countries to see just where we stand in relation to South Africa that we actually gave lessons to in terms of sports administration when they came back into the Committee of Nations in 1993.
I've heard some things, Mr. Speaker. I've heard about how it is Nigerian police force that actually tutors South African police in most of their courses. And I'm wondering what's going on, really and truly. I've also tried to understand why the huge gap that people like Will Smith, Oprah Winfrey will go to Tabletop Mountain in Cape Town for summer. Meanwhile, we have Kainji Dam. We have Ikosi waterfalls. We have, I still can't understand.
But they are not all developed.
Yes.
For the tourism business.
Yes. We don't, the truth of the matter is that we don't realize how much. In fact, sports and tourism go hand in hand.
Yes, they do.
And I'll give you an example. 4 years ago, I was involved with the EuroLeague Final Four because as one of the alumni of the EuroLeague Institute, I get invited whenever they have the Final Four. So it goes from city to city. They bid for it because the Final Four, EuroLeague is like the NBA of Europe. So and the teams that play there are the same teams that play in football, like
Olympiacos, Barcelona,
and all that. So so I was involved with the not just the case studies but also the surveys that we did with the fans. And the city of Madrid we had to do a presentation to the municipality. The city of Madrid had to do a justification for why they put in all that money into hosting it. And guess what? Real Madrid team was in that final four.
Yeah.
In fact, in Spain, there's this assumption, there's this thing between the Catalans and them. They say Madrid is a basketball team. But the basketball team has won the same amount of EuroLeague as the football team.
Yes.
So that year, we were made to go and interview, because the Russian team CSKA Moscow was there, Olympiacos was there. So Olympiacos got to the final, and then the fourth team I can't remember now. But we had to interview each and every one of the fans that came in, randomly. So we had to do something in the hotel. We had to do, and the questionnaires, you'll ask them how much money they were going to spend did they come with. So as a Nigerian, I'm thinking like, okay, typically if somebody would ask me, I wouldn't, even if I had money, I wouldn't say how much.
You wouldn't declare,
We asked the Russians. Oh, yeah, I came with 10,000 euros.
Wow.
And he would, it has a breakdown that says how much are you going to spend on hotel?
Hotel,
He'll tell you how much you spend on flights. He brought out the flight ticket. And they even have what they call like a second-tier tickets market.
Yeah.
Where those who have bought earlier will sell it. And I remember going to watch Real Madrid and Juventus. So I was getting a free ticket.
Okay.
When I went to pick it up, I arrived just before the game. There were Russians and some other fans who were prepared. Once I came out, they knew already that there was someone who had collected the ticket. But my flight was delayed. My flight was delayed from Paris to Madrid. So I went straight to with my bag. I went straight to the office and left my bag. And then I went to collect the ticket. They were willing to offer me 1,000 euros for the game ticket. For the ticket. So they have a plan. And all of that. So by the time we came back, I went to do the presentation. They now use those surveys to do their analysis of how much goes in there. And that is something that
we don't have.
That the South Africans have gone and they follow those templates. So it's not like, if you find the people who work in the sports, the Nigerians are a lot more educated.
Yes.
We have what I mean, I am more educated than a lot of people that I work with.
Yeah.
That are working on some of those things there. But you find that from a practical point of view, they've gone through the rudiments, you know, and it is done from the like in terms of football, for instance, they've got a local football association, and it works. It's not lip service like you have here, where you have state football associations that do nothing. Local football association, they function, they run leagues, they run the referees, they run everything. Is run. It starts at 8 o'clock. They say 8 o'clock. It starts at 8 o'clock because they have like a checklist.
I think with what you're saying, I always only used to know before tonight that you're educating me that it is only in Egypt you will hear that Arab Contractors has a hockey team, cricket team, squash team, badminton team, football team, volleyball team, because it is a sports club. Yeah. So what it is everybody that is in that institution that likes to do any sports, including athletics and boxing, they have their own club.
In Barcelona,
the same thing. Greece, they have it. I remember your discourse with Dan Ingerem the other day about Lithuania and all that. In Nigeria, why did 3SC change to that 3SC? They said they wanted to add other clubs. There's no Ludo, there's no Ayo. I mean, there's nothing added.
It's nice that you mentioned.
It's just football.
It's nice that you mentioned Lithuania. In the basketball is like their biggest passion. In fact, in 1988 Seoul Olympics, when Soviet Union beat the USA, with their full team, 4 out of the 5 starters we are born not just Lithuanians, we are born meters away from each other in Kaunas.
Wow.
You know, so I've been to the house of Sabonis. Sabonis is the president of the Lithuania Basketball Association. So one of my classmates and another of my alumni is the president of the club. Another of my classmates is in charge of marketing their club. So I've been to every single one of their facilities. Lithuania has per capita the highest number of basketball courts. When I went to where the junior team trains, it's an indoor facility, which is where their hostel is, and they've got a facility up there. I went there. Guess who I met training there? I was shocked. The director who took me there did not tell me. When it surprised me, when I got in there, the team was wearing red. They were practicing, and I noticed one of the Egyptian journalists was there. It was Zamalek's basketball team. They were training there, and this was what year was that? It was 2015. Yes, 2015 October. Zamalek was training there. I was still confused.
Not the football team, Africa.
I was confused. Then he called
the football team.
Then he called my name, and I turned. I'm like, Salif, what are you doing here? It's like, Zamalek is here, and he's there to cover their training.
Well, we have our own First Bank Football Club.
Yes.
And we have the First Bank Basketball. No, but that's a big thing.
It is.
They're one of the best basketball teams in Africa.
Does First Bank have a facility?
Oh, one of the best in this country.
In the 60s, we used to have great athletics club. I remember speaking to Violet Odogu years ago, and she said they even had like a fancy athletic club, and they had some of those athletic clubs in Lagos Island, and they came.
We had all of those things. All of those. How big is the sports business in South Africa now?
Wow. Well, I've worked with him severally. I've worked with him for about 3 years back to back. And that question, sir, we won't leave here. This show has to be increased to 2 hours.
That's summarized for us.
That's a very valuable question, because first and foremost, we don't regard sports as a business here.
Yeah.
Otherwise, state governments won't own teams. Yeah. The day we realize that sports is a business, I mean, just to put it in perspective, the South African Premier Soccer League has 16 teams. Not one of them is a state-owned team. They're all owned by entrepreneurs. People buy them. I told you about Cape Town City. It used to be Black Aces. People take their teams all the way to the Premier League and they sell it. They sell it for sometimes 80 million rand. They sell it for
good money.
For good money, and the clubs there. I mean, Ajax. I can tell you the story of Ajax because the founder of Kickoff magazine was one of the people who was involved in, and it came from. And this is the funny thing: they sold Benny McCarthy to Ajax for $1 million. $1 million. We sold Finidi George from Sharks for $100,000 Okay. So they said, Finidi George and Benny McCarthy, you cannot compare. Finidi is
out of this world. They are not
miles away. But because we don't understand the business, we sold him for 100,000. And 3 years later, Ajax sold Finidi to Real Betis for $7.6 million. So in South Africa, they understand this. And so the entire business ecosystem, rugby runs on its own. And rugby is interesting. It's pretty much almost like states, because it's the provincial things, but they are run as proper businesses. You want to talk about golf? In the top 20 of golf, there's always like 5 or 6 South Africans.
Yes.
They have golf courses everywhere. They run
Sun Cities events
properly, and they have sponsorship, and then they have like a sports industry awards that we attend every year. And at that sports industry awards, you see how much effort is put in from an advertising point of view. They pay attention to branding. They pay attention, and then I'll close with one example. Orlando Pirates and Kaizer Chiefs, both clubs realized that rather than fight each other, because they have the most followership, they came together, and they have a sponsorship package that's over 100 million.
Wow. For television or...
No. I'm talking about sponsorship.
Okay. Before we go to the final part of our program, I'd like to go on a short break, because one of us is in the house, and I want him to participate in the rest of the show, even though he's late, but this is actually his own show. So we just go on this short break. You've been watching the Sports Parliament, coming to you live from Africa's #1 television station, NTA. Join us after the break.
Chief. Good morning, sir. You are here already?
No. Now my spirit there. My body there for house. What kind of question is that? Were you not the one that fixed this meeting for 8 a.m.? You are now coming by 10 a.m. and start asking me jam questions.
But Chief, now, I'm sorry. Don't you also go late for meetings sometimes? You know now, African time thing.
No more African time. And no more pancaking of face during office hours. At the end of the day, we will lose valuable time. We will not make progress. If we want to move this nation forward, we must treat business as business and respect time. Change begins with me.
Thank you, sir. I'm sorry. Can we go for the meeting now, Chief?
Later.
This message is brought to you by the National Orientation Agency in conjunction with the Federal Ministry of Information and Culture.
This is the Sports Parliament, parliamentarian, Olympic gold medalist, the legend is in-house with us, Enefiok Udo Obon.
Thank you, Mr. Speaker. Sorry for being late tonight.
So, just join the conversation. You know what we've been talking about.
Yes, it's been interesting education. It's been very educative, and we hope that we can take a lot from what you've said. We can learn from the South African experience. But when you talk about their national teams, we see on South African TV how their fans fill up stadium during their club matches. But the last time the Super Eagles played with the Bafana Stadium, in fact, more Nigerians were there than South Africans. So what kind of why the discrepancy? Is it that they don't support? They're not nationalistic. They're not patriotic. What's the problem there?
The fans are they're so connected to their clubs that when for instance they have the Soweto Derby between Orlando Pirates and Kaizer Chiefs, don't even watch the game. Just drive into Soweto.
I think that this weekend.
Yes, it's this weekend. It is a carnival. It is one of the most. In fact, I think closest to it will be Simba and Yanga in Tanzania.
Wow.
That I have seen.
We used to have shooting and Rangers.
Let's not go.
Don't spread this soup.
Let's not go there. Don't spread this soup, please. Some people were not born by then. Let's not go there.
I think Mr. Speaker can tell us about that.
I can talk about 1977, but let's talk about South Africa. About South Africa. Orlando Pirates was formed in the 30s, right in the middle of all of that whole thing. They still had that. Kaiser Chiefs. Kaiser played for Orlando Pirates. Then he went and played in America along with Jomo and a few other players. Jomo actually played with him, and Jomo has a team now. Kaiser came back. He played for Kansas. I think it was Kansas. One of the teams he played for in America had Chiefs. He came back and just formed Kaiser Chiefs. Initially, there was resistance to it, but they built a fan base that, today, Kaiser Chiefs has an insurance company. They've got a phenomenal, and the club is run by Kaiser. His daughter is the marketing director. One of his sons is that. Another of his sons just graduated. Now he used to play Kaiser Junior. So he's joining the business again. It's a proper business. In fact, the point they used to have Prime Media, one of the big media.
I bought their jersey, $230
in it. Wow. And they have this
$230.
They have this structure that I always talk about this when we interact. And people ask me sometimes because over the last 10 years I've worked as one of the leading experts on digital media and social media and all of that. Fan engagement, Kaiser Chiefs, and I'll give you the numbers because you have those data. I'm involved with the company in the world that does all of the social media analytics, Result Sports. We did the research, and the first report that we came out with, Al Ahly of Egypt is number 17 in the world. Yeah. Their fan base on social media. Yes. Kaiser Chiefs has 21 million social media community. When you have that, you don't even need TV. You can reach, and then they've got a database of the fans. They have the fans' phone numbers. They have.
So Al Ahly has how many million?
Al Ahly
is number 7 in the world.
Al Ahly has more fans than some of these Premier League teams that you're.
Yes. No wonder Salah will always be online.
Mohamed Salah,
he will always win.
Mohamed Salah has the most votes. Sorry, the most followership of. I think what I'll do, I'll try and send it because
the details.
It's so much data, because how we're able to do it, we had to first reach out to the clubs to try and find out where what are their original pages, and then we ran it through a crawler in Frankfurt because Result Sports produces the global benchmark. So I met a couple of the guys when I was doing my master's in sports marketing, and we kept that relationship going, and so I started talking now about Africa. And we did this when we first published the report. Before then, Kaiser Chiefs thought they were number one in Africa. So, to their credit, they came back to us and said, "Look, yes, we're disappointed that we're not number one, but we're very happy to see where we stand alongside the other club." And you know what it means now? In today's sports business, you cannot get sponsorship from any company if you don't show them those numbers, and that is the reason why the European clubs and European leagues are able to get money from our sponsors, because people complain sometimes. When people complain, why? One time I read something really ridiculous where